Welcome back, Wanderers. Do you remember that 1980s movie called War Games? I think a young Matthew Broderick was the star of that show. This was a movie about a war machine that had been created by some inventor, and it was playing a game of global thermonuclear war. And it actually was a computer that belonged to the Pentagon or something like that. And it was supposed to be trialing out how to win this nuclear war. And no matter what it tried, it just could not win. America was always being annihilated, regardless of when it set off missiles, where it sent it to, because that was the theme of the global thermonuclear war. There was no way to win. At the very end, the computer figured out how to win the game. And it said that the way to win was not to play the game. Doing less is not necessarily laziness or lack of interest. It actually is a way to sabotage the burnout machine so that you can keep going longer and actually win the war. So firstly, let's talk about productivity as a concept in Carl Jung's world, because I'm loving Carl Jung at the moment. The way that he describes it is this productivity is about social pressure. It's about being told that we have to wear this mask of always being busy and efficient and indispensable to the world. It's kind of a cultural conditioning that we go through that makes us, feel as though it's necessary for us to be a good worker or a hustler or to always be switched on. We wear this mask of productivity not because it's true and it's who we really are, but because that's what society expects from us. This kind of trap, it spans a wide range of social expectations. So in politics and work and even in spirituality, it makes us perform like we're authentic instead of truly being authentic. It's hard work being productive. It's hard work and it's exhausting. And generally it's ineffective because even if it does achieve something, what's been achieved can't be sustained unless you continue with the hard, exhausting work indefinitely. Now I'm going to talk about productivity as it's framed around this concept of resistance, real resistance and manufactured resistance. And I want you to hear me out here because I know that, with some people who are watching, you have poured years and years of your life into resisting. I'm not saying that that was wrong for you to do that. You've shown up, you've carried the weight, and you've done what you could do. It's become part of your identity with some people as well. So it's really hard to see beyond it. Movements push for this kind of resistance, this constant outrage and constant action, and this proof that you're in the game by showing up to prove that you are resisting. That's how they demand your loyalty, and it becomes a sense of identity. However, this form of resistance is a manufactured framework. It actually keeps people busy and it keeps them exhausted and drained, and it makes them very easy to control. Because getting burnt out is actually not resistance, it's compliance. It makes you kind of drained and exhausted, and then you become predictable, which means you can be controlled by the system that designed the framework of resistance in order to keep you under control. So even if you do win a battle or two within this system, it only wins the moment. It can be undone at any time with just another moment. We can see this exact kind of resistance flip taking place in the news every day. Things that have been won through hard work and constant outrage and resistance, this performative resistance. And then shortly thereafter, it gets undone. But then it might get redone, but then it gets undone. There's no true, lasting, indefinite progress. Okay, however, there is upping the level. There's a different stage of resistance, and this is the one that really shifts it up a notch. It's true resistance, and it's smarter, and it's much more sustainable in the long term. It's real resistance. Let me describe this to you in enough detail, and hopefully some of you who are on your way out might actually recognize what I'm talking about here. So true resistance is not about doing more. It's about refusing to participate in the trap that's been set with this performative kind of productive culture. For example, refusing to become outraged, refusing the desire or the urge to doom scroll, refusing busy work that looks like action but achieves nothing tangible. Asking yourself things like, if I show up, is it going to accomplish something? If I get involved, what exactly is it going to change with my involvement? Those kinds of things make a real difference. It separates the productive trap from the true resistance that achieves something. I'm backing somebody's plan here, but does the plan have outcomes? Or am I just kind of engaging in this exercise of being busy? Because the most radical shock that you can give the system that designed this performance culture is to stop performing exactly as you were predicted to perform. I like to include a suggested practical ritual that anybody can follow to be able to put some meat on the bones of what I'm talking about, instead of it just being some kind of an opinion piece, right? So it's exactly the same process, whether it's so that you can get what you want, so that you can push for some kind of reform, or as a resistance measure. It's a very simple shift in mindset that puts you back into control. It puts you in the driving seat. So I think we can guess this is Ellie Dreams Down Under. So we know that step 1 is pause. Just stop. Okay. Step 2 is to ask yourself a series of questions. Am I doing this for me, or am I doing it because it's expected? If the answer is that you're doing it because it's expected, then just drop it. And guess what? As soon as you drop it, you've just stopped playing the game. But remember, there's also a need to be able to see a measurable outcome for the investment that you're putting into something. If you find that you're doing it for yourself, okay, and you're still in the game, ask yourself this question. Will this performance deliver a planned outcome, or am I just getting busy? If the action that you are being pushed, even if it is for yourself to perform, is just going to keep you busy, then drop it. And as soon as you dropped it, you've just stopped playing the game. So you are no longer in that productivity trap. Every time you refuse to perform, you are refusing to get played by the system that deliberately manufactured the performance structure that makes you so predictable. Resistance is predictable. Performance is predictable. Hustle culture is predictable. Outrage is predictable. As soon as you stop and ask yourself those 2 questions, are you doing it for you? And is there a measurable outcome that will be achieved by you doing this? If the answer to both of those questions is no, and you've dropped it, you've just dropped the game. And then suddenly you're ready to win the game, because suddenly you become a big surprise. That is true rebellion. It suddenly turns your predictable self into a massive surprise that was not anticipated by the system. Now imagine if everybody in the collective refused to play the game and suddenly surprise the system. And then you still have enough energy inside you to be able to design a new game, one that you own and operate, rather than the system. Welcome to the new world. If you enjoyed this episode and feel that you learned something, there are plenty more in this playlist just waiting to be watched. This is Ellie Dreams Down Under. I love knowing you're here, and I'll see you in my dreams.